Hi, welcome everyone, and good afternoon. Sorry for the slight delay in starting today. I had a few technical issues my side, but I think we're all sorted now. So welcome to the sustainability panel discussion of the 2022 Visual Media Conference. As we all know, sustainability has been a hot topic in the print and packaging industries for a number of years now. But with the UK set to host the UN's Climate Change Conference in Glasgow at the end of October, it's hopefully set to get even hotter. So with that in mind, I'm joined today by three business leaders from the print, packaging and creative industries who will be discussing what sustainability means to them and of course their businesses. First up, we've got Precision Proco Chief Operating Officer, John Bailey. Hi, John. John has 20 years experience in the print industry, and his passion for keeping print relevant, combined with his inspirational approach to leadership, culture, and of course customer engagement, is one of the driving forces behind Precision Proco's impressive growth in the world of innovative commercial print. Next is Pimento founder Stephen Knight. Stephen is a former advertising executive, brand and marketing director, and CMO with over 30 years experience in the marketing world. He's held a variety of positions at major international agencies, including Lowe Howard Spink and WCRS, and on the brand side with the Walt Disney Company and SSE. He founded Pimento in 2005 and has since grown it into one of the UK's leading independent agency networks. And our final panelist today is Debbie Waldron-Hoines. Debbie is a consultant CEO of the European Flexographic Industry Association, the EFIA, and of course co-founder of Women in Packaging. She has held a number of senior roles in the print and packaging industry over a 25-year career, where she has worked at companies including Harlands of Hull, Gilchrist Brothers and DS Smith, amongst others. So that's our panel for today. Before I kick off with our first topic, I'd just like to mention to the audience, if you want to ask any questions, you could please pose those in the Q&A section to the right-hand side of your screen. It'll be easy for me to pick them up there rather than the chat function. So before we get on to your questions, though, I'll kick off with one of my topics, and we'll start with the doozy, hopefully. So there are lots of sessions coming up in the next few days on what sustainability even, I need to learn how to say it, actually means to you and to your businesses. So I'd like to put that to the panel first, and maybe if we start off with Debbie. I mean, what does sustainability mean to you?
Hello, and
Hi.
Good afternoon to everyone. As regards sustainability, as we all know, sustainability is about taking care of the needs of everyone today so that people are able to provide for people in the future. As a trade association, we're there to support and look after our members and their clients in ways and means of getting ahead in sustainability and how that fits into the circular economy in general. And as we all know, packaging plays a huge part in sustainability. It's the first thing people see in terms of brands, and consumers want to see sustainability in the packaging, and it then gives them more confidence in the actual brand itself.
Great. And what are your thoughts, Stephen? What does it mean to your business?
I think sort of moving beyond the kind of the sort of green areas and so on and so forth. For me, it's about creating sustainable businesses. So it's about looking at how business and the brands that we serve can become more sustainable over time. Okay.
And John, assuming you can hear us now, what does sustainability mean to Precision Proco? Well, I'm guessing you're still struggling with sound.
I think you've just asked me, Darryl. I have sound issues, so I can't hear. I think you asked me about what sustainability means to us. I mean, I think for me, it's more than just about the environmental piece. It's about doing the right thing and doing things right, increasing that financial performance, and also developing and giving job security for the team. And I think it's that, whilst at the same time having a positive impact on the environment, the community, and your customers. So it's kind of all encompassing for us.
Yeah, okay, excellent. And Stephen, I mean, obviously you come from sort of the agency and the client side. Mm-hmm. What does it mean to sort of agencies and clients as well in terms of, what does sustainability mean to them and their businesses?
A variety of different things. I mean, we've been in business since, as you said, 2005. So for the last 16 years, we've been virtual. So we've never had offices. We've never had the need for offices. So come COVID, we were quite well versed in actually living via Zoom and other means of communication. And because we work from home, we're able to sort of save on the commute and also reduce our energy and of course our costs, which in turn means that we can provide services to our clients at a lower rate, which obviously makes us more sustainable, but more importantly allows them to expand and develop their businesses by keeping our costs and margins to an absolute minimum.
Actually, sorry. No, I was going to say, does it impact on creativity when you talk about some of the benefits of working from home and things like that, in terms of how sort of collaboration, if you like, works on the client side?
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to creativity and also the media that we use, I mean, if you think of about sort of 10, 15 years ago, take the outdoor industry. In those days, it was very much a print medium, which you then had to obviously dispatch and put on roads around the UK and then stick on billboards and so on. Since most of the media that we engage with these days is digital in nature, production costs and the ability to be able to actually place content without the cost of production beyond the origination, that has had a positive effect on marketing and media in general, and continues to do so. I mean, technology is very much leading the way in helping to reduce our carbon footprint. And from a brand point of view, and the clients that we serve, their uppermost concern is beyond obviously the immediate need to produce products and services and sell those onto their customers, is to create an environmentally carbon-free environment for their products and services. And that increasingly is not just about their production, but is increasingly also about the ways in which they go about communicating to their audiences. So we are getting requests from clients through the various agencies we work with on a daily basis, and a lot of those requests tend to be around diversity and inclusion, and also sustainability. The two key hot topics at the moment.
Okay, and Debbie, in your kind of role at EFIA, I'll get it right. If I say it 5 times really quickly, I'm sure I'll roll it off. Obviously, you're listening to a lot of members' concerns and things like that. So, what's the sort of feedback from them in terms of sustainability, and how can you help as a trade organisation?
I suppose following on from Stephen, what Stephen is saying, but a different way, brands, retailers, printers, suppliers, they all need to go down the sustainability route and show their clients that they are sustainable, all at the different levels really, from the plate manufacturers doing innovation in how they produce the polymer, down to the printers, how they use the substrates, to how they form the recycling streams. It was a huge area for us, as you can imagine. But in all areas, there's work going on innovation and how they can improve the sustainability and how that fits into the circular economy as well. And of course, with us being flexography, where it's around, we reckon about 60% of all packaging in the UK is now printed using flexography. So FIA has a really big role to play, and it covers all types of material, well, an awful lot of types of materials, mostly, of course, film and paper. So there's lots of innovation going on the film and paper side as well to help, again, on the route of sustainability.
Excellent. And thank you for that, Ifia. That's much easier for me to say. I can manage that, I think. And I'm assuming, John, the way you're giggling at me now, your sound's working perfectly, so you can hear everything I say. Fantastic.
I've been listening to gags before, now I can hear them all. So
excellent. Good to know. Good to know. From your experiences, has the pandemic kind of slowed down or maybe even accelerated the drive or the industry's drive to sustainability?
Yeah, I think it's definitely speeded it up. I think it's actually given it a little bit more value as well. I think a lot of people before talk about sustainability, and you could probably get away wrongly with ticking a few boxes and saying that you were sustainable and you had all these initiatives, but actually it was more to get through to stage 2 of a tender or whatever. Actually, what I see has come out the back of it is now people want proof. They want actual results. They want visibility of what you're doing, like Debbie was just saying there. And actually, it now goes much deeper into the organizations where you're having to actually do what you've been saying for a while you've been doing. And that's what's really good. And it's definitely speeded it up. One of the interesting things that I've seen come out of it since the back of the pandemic as well, and I've been talking to various legal entities about business transactions and what the market is doing, as we always look at, and what I'm hearing back is that sustainability is actually outside of valuation from an EBITDA perspective or financial performance. Sustainability and the ability to demonstrate that you are driving sustainability through your business and through your customers' businesses is actually seen as one of the key drivers for valuation of businesses, which I think is is really good, because that is only going to make us do even more, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Stephen, I think your session tomorrow is about delivering measurable actions, isn't it? So this is something you agree with.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, the session we're running tomorrow, I'm chairing at 1:45, is with 3 executives that have got together to create a sustainability fund to be able to make investments in businesses that are driving their business towards new levels of sustainability. It's a really exciting, innovative fund, quite different from what's already out there. And they've already managed to secure, I think, 3 investments in 3 very different businesses. So if you run a sustainability business, or you're interested in actually getting to know more about how you can get investment to help you become more sustainable, it's probably worth you popping along to that particular session.
No, excellent. And in terms of that, do we think, when it comes to technology, because I think tomorrow, I think there's a session this afternoon actually by, I think, the world's most famous Printweek, Frank Romano. But then tomorrow, I think there's a lot of technology sessions as well. I mean, do we think that technology is something that's the most important factor? Is the technology in terms of driving forward sustainability is on the agenda, or do we think it's more about maybe the soft skills, if you like, and bringing people on the journey? I mean, I don't know, Debbie, is that something you've thought about?
I think it's probably a mix. I mean, there's an awful lot of innovation in the field I'm in, and that's been demanded, I think, by the consumers, because they're more aware of the needs and they want to be seen to be buying things that are sustainable. On the other hand, in our industry, as in an awful lot of industry at the moment, there's a lack of young people, lack of skills, and we need to attract more people to the industry and have those people aware of sustainability issues and how they can help push all of those things forward. So I think there's definitely a mix of both. Innovation on the one hand, but yet we need the people and the soft skills on the other.
Yes. Actually, and is talent attrition, is that a challenge for all of your sectors, really, from commercial print through to packaging, through to the creative side?
It's a huge problem for us. I mean, the average age, I would say, in the print and packaging industry is probably mid-50s. And it's not really seen as an industry that the young go, I want to be in the print and packaging industry. Yeah, it's a fantastic industry. And I think there's a huge job out there for us to go and attract the right people into our industry.
I think if I can jump in there, I think they all go hand in hand, right? So once you have people in our industry, they realise just how dynamic and innovative it is. And there's more innovation that goes on in our industry than most others. It's fantastic. And the diversity and the range of skill sets you need is phenomenal to succeed in what we do. The challenge is obviously the margins you work to sometimes don't allow you to fight in the same field as the other people who need that skill set. So that's a challenge in retention. But attracting is difficult to get people to realise what it is we can do and the opportunities that our industry has. But this piece with sustainability and link it to innovation and technology is one of the key drivers for that, because it is one of the key drivers for the youth to be involved in, right? The sustainability piece. And actually the technology element and the innovation is the bit that is of interest. So we can use this as a real key driver. And I think it's a real mix of soft and technology, but by bringing in all of the skills we have with our production, like our automation engines and our utilization stuff we do, and all of our smart factory that we all know, if we can layer that sustainability into the same way, where we have things like calculators that calculate our carbon offset per SKU, per product on the fly, which is something we're launching this year. So our customers and our staff can really feel like they can make an impact, but it's automated and it's smart and it's clever. I think you cover that off, and I think it's a massive play, and I think it'll this year we'll see a big transition between it being a manual, audited type process to being an integrated, automated part of our businesses, and that's when it will have a big impact.
And I agree actually with John, because I think the youth of today want to make a difference, and so I think if we can attract them in that way, then we can definitely get the youngsters into the industry. But it's still a task that we need to be doing.
Right. And Stephen, I mean, I guess there's no challenge attracting sort of young talent into the creative industries.
You'd have thought not, but the reality is at the moment, there's 1.7 million jobs open in the UK, and that cuts across all industries. We, as an industry, have always thrived and benefited from working with the very best people, many of whom were attracted to come and work in the UK, because we've always been a leading light in the creative industries, whether it's film, television, or the commercial world of advertising. We've seen, like most industries, a bit of a talent brain drain in the last 18 months, in part due to Brexit, but equally, obviously, COVID did lead a lot of people to go home. So we, like all other industries, need to both attract and retain talent and help to train and develop talent if we're going to continue to lead in this particular area, as we have done for many, many years. So it's a tough one, really, and it's essential that we find ways in which we can attract raw talent into our business. Traditionally, it's been a very exciting environment to work. One of the downsides I would suggest to you of technology is it actually can take away that interpersonal relationships that we all enjoy. And with hybrid working styles and the way in which we're evolving and the way in which we're communicating and working together, young people still want that human contact. They still want to be able to actually have the flexibility when it comes to working, but at the same time, they do want to learn from their peers. So it's one of those things that we need to accommodate. A lot of agencies are giving up their premises or reduced the amount of space they've got, like a lot of the clients that they work for. And clients are much more accepting, I think, of the flexibility of working from different environments, and they can see the commercial benefits to them too. We've got to make sure that we deliver all of that, but at the same time, we don't lose out on the opportunity to maintain those relationships and bring young people on.
And we talked a little bit about sort of the circular economy. Do you think there's a circular opportunity here, and that you've got the print, the packaging, and the creative industries and kind of pull together? Because I can't help but wonder whether there actually is a great sustainability story to tell across all of these industries, but actually we don't really shout about it enough.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think we do market it enough, and I think that people's perceptions of the print industry are right behind the reality of where it is today, and it tends to kind of hark back to sort of mucky fingers with ink and old-fashioned ways of working, and the reality is far from the truth these days. I mean, as John was just suggesting there, I mean, in many respects, the UK leads the world in innovation and application of the innovation, even if we're not actually creating the technology ourselves. The way in which we apply it and the uses for it across multiple industries, and taking companies like Precision Proco, real leaders in their field. So I think it's essential that as an industry, we make our point heard. And I believe that actually being more united in those communications and working with some of the associations that we all work with and getting that message across to consumers is an important thing, because as has just been suggested, the younger people today absolutely demand this. It's a prerequisite. It's almost a hygiene factor. If you can't deliver and demonstrate you are creating sustainable ways in which to market and sell your products and reducing your cost base and your impact on the environment, then frankly, you're not going to be in the game. And brands that can do that, and the businesses that can do that, will succeed.
And John, do you work with your clients in that way?
Yeah, we work with our clients in that way, and we have to help them. We have to help show them how we can add value through the sustainability piece, the innovation piece. But I actually think that we talked there about, should we collaborate more? Is there more we could do as an industry? I think we do a really good job. Yeah, we could do better. Everyone could do better, but I think we beat ourselves up as an industry that we're not promoting the sustainability piece or the environmental piece, and that people don't understand. I think we do an amazing job of collaborating with the people like the Pimento and the organisations and the D-Scoops of the world and the BPIF. We do get it, and I think we're very open as an industry. We weren't many years ago, but I think we've moved so fast and so far forward into this whole idea of sharing and best practice and innovation and environmental and sustainability that I think we do a really good job. I think we need to do more. And I think we can add value to our customers more by sharing and continuing that way of thinking. But I think we actually do a fairly good job.
And what about you, Debbie? What do you think? Do you think we could do more? Or?
I would agree. There's always more that can be done, but there's definitely more collaboration out there. I mean, from my point of view, with IFIA, we are part of the GPMA with the BPIF, and I know there's a lot of acronyms, and also the Packaging Federation, because we sort of straddle print and packaging, because individual associations and individual companies need to collaborate with others, I think, to make a difference. So by associations in different areas working together, we've more one voice to talk to government, to push for things that need to be done in the industry, and obviously to work for our members.
Mm.
But there's definitely collaboration out there. It's better than it was, but there's always room for improvement, I would say.
Okay. Actually, and on the collaboration front, I noticed, I think on Thursday there's a session about ethics, which kind of made me wonder whether through the pandemic, whether that has a positive or negative impact on ethics across business generally, and whether that is going to foster a more sort of a collaborative approach. I don't know what you think on that, John.
I'd like to say it's changed everybody's ethics for the better. I'll hold judgment. A few early signs as we've come back out of people reverted to type, should we say. I'd like to think people remember what it felt like when we all sent people home and sat there on our own in our factories worrying about how we were going to survive. And then the people that stood by us and the customers and the suppliers that worked together to come out the other end actually are the ones that we should now be building those relationships with. And I hope that's what happens. We'll see. I'll stay positive on it for a while, but we'll see.
Good plan. What about you, Stephen? In terms of the client side, it was interesting because I guess a lot has been asked of clients in terms of supporting their suppliers through all of this. And some have behaved brilliantly, I'm sure, and maybe some others not so much. Do you think there'll be winners and losers coming out of this?
I think clients will remember the suppliers and agencies that basically were there to support them through COVID period, and they will remember too the flexibility that has been demonstrated and the way they've supported those businesses. So I hope that gets rewarded. You always hope there'll be some loyalty. I'm certainly aware of agencies that perhaps didn't maintain those relationships with their clients through the period and weren't available, that they haven't necessarily been rewarded as we started to see things improve. But I mean, back to your earlier point, one of the things I do feel is that all of us have learned an awful lot through the COVID period, and it has absolutely heightened the need to address issues like sustainability. I think a number of us, it was tough on a lot of people, but a number of us actually, certainly for the first lockdown, were fortunate enough to enjoy a period of reflection and actually get out and enjoy nature and all those sorts of things. And I think that coupled with the actions that we've seen over the summer, the spring, and where we are too, as you say, with the upcoming conference, is that people are more acutely aware than ever around the issue, and not putting a political point upon it, but if you just look at basically how the impact on the weather over the last 3 months, both with fires and droughts, and it's a crazy situation. So I think it's really coming home to people. So I think all of us have an obligation to do whatever we can as individuals, and certainly as businesses, because the businesses, I suspect, ultimately will be the larger polluter of the two. But we need to be seen to be leading the way.
Yeah. Actually, and Debbie, on that as well, I mean, you mentioned earlier in terms of flexo print and things like that. I mean, before all of this happened, obviously plastic was, the number one bad guy when it came to the sustainability story. Do you think people have had a little bit more time to reflect on it now, and maybe opinions are changing slightly?
I think packaging as a whole has always been the bad guy, which, because when you work in the packaging industry, can be very frustrating. People don't realise how it helps to reduce food waste, which causes more carbon emissions than the packaging itself. I think there was a mindset before the pandemic that we can't have any plastic at all, but then we needed plastic through the pandemic. But that's helped, I think, to accelerate innovation in some areas. Perhaps people are thinking more now about the sustainability element of plastic, the innovations on single polymer films, which help to make it recycled. There's definitely a push from government to help the recycling streams, because a lot of the time it's not the packaging itself, it's the recycling streams that we have in place. We need packaging. It protects, it's the first thing you see on a brand, and it reduces the food waste. And then on the other hand, you've got consumers who spent more time at home and probably shopped more locally, and perhaps had more time to actually look at the packaging and sort of decide what they wanted. I think there's a real mix of things, but the outcome of all of this is definitely we've got more innovation in our sector on the area that's needed in sustainability.
Yeah, actually, as well. I mean, do you think innovation and sustainability go hand in hand? I mean, can one not exist? Well, obviously, can both exist without each other. But do you know what I mean? They're critical elements, parts of the same puzzle.
I think, sorry, I don't know who that was to, but I think
No.
they can go in isolation. Of course they can, but when you combine them together, they become even more powerful. I think if you think of the transformation in our industry, the digital transformation, about printing locally, one-off, smaller, less waste, even from a production perspective, sustainable printing and not shipping production all around the globe, but actually creating a network where we print local, we shop local, we output local, and wherever you are in the world, in the creative economy, if you want to produce a one-off piece of print anywhere to any customer globally, it no longer gets shipped around the world, right? It gets printed locally down in St Ives or in London or in the north of Scotland or in Timbuktu, wherever, but it's right next to its location. That in itself is a massive piece of innovation.
Absolutely. And do we think in terms of, I think there's a session tomorrow at midday, talks about maximising ROI. I mean, do we think profitability and sustainability are mutually exclusive, or are they, very comfortable bedfellows as well, or should be? Stephen, what do you think?
Sorry, I lost that second half of that question. It cut out.
It's just about whether profitability and sustainability are mutually exclusive, or whether they have to exist together.
Well, certainly they needn't be. I mean, I think that there's going to be a requirement, as John intimated, to invest in new technology, and of course, at some point in time, that cost has to be realised. But there's a lot of things that we can do just through common sense. I think that actually habits and practices that we all do on a daily basis inside business and outside of business can have an incredible impact if we all do it together. I think we will get regulated anyway, and I do think we come back to expectations of consumers will also put pressure on businesses to innovate, and the solutions will lie in a combination of both technology and process and attitude. For me, attitude is the most important thing, and changing people's habits, as we all know, is difficult. Getting people to do things differently can be difficult, but we've seen in the events industry, it's a prime example, that they have applied a new code which they put in place, I think 5 years ago, and that's had a massive impact on the reduction of waste. I think gone are the days where we all tip up to exhibitions and conferences and events and build massive sets and then strip them down and chuck them in the back of a skip. I think a lot more thought is going into it, and when you think about some of the hybrid events and some of the activities and technology platforms that are being used for events and conferences and that were developed during the COVID period, those I think will continue to be the mainstay going forward, and there'll be a mix of both live and virtual events, in part to cut down costs, but equally to reduce the need for travel. So everyone has to do their bit, and I think I hope that technology will close the gap where attitudes take longer to change, but eventually we will all have to change, otherwise we're all going to suffer.
And that kind of leads on actually to a question we just had from the viewers. So it says, this is from Derek Jones. What are the panel's thoughts of using video and digital platforms to promote their businesses and services? Do they think there's any conflict, and how do they think they'll work together best? I don't know, Debbie, do you have any thoughts on that?
I suppose it's probably more for the other two, really.
Yeah, no, that's fair. John.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
What a sideline.
Yeah, well played, Debbie, well played.
I think
you're frozen, Debbie. Nobody would have noticed. It'd be fine.
Just stay quiet. I think use of video and conferences is essential for business moving forward. We've already implemented it, and we will retain that coming out of COVID for our sales calls, and most of our prelim and pre-sales and all of our lead gen will be done via remote services. So we're cutting down our travel. I don't believe it's as good as touching the flesh and seeing the whites of the eyes. I think this event is an interesting one. It's why we're passionate about it, but it fell right between being able to do physical and virtual. So it's a bit tricky. We probably would have been in one area and got more from it. But I think it has a role to play. And I think the best thing about it is we now know it. We know where it works and where it doesn't work. And so I think it's here to stay, definitely for us anyway.
Excellent. Well, the bad news is we're just about to run out of time, and we have kindly been given an extension. So there's time for one more question. And Debbie, I'm afraid you can't get out of this one. So I'm going to ask you, in terms of over the next 3 days, are there any sessions in particular you're looking forward to?
Well, I suppose with my packaging hats on, Stefan Casey is speaking on day 3. He's one of the packaging innovation leads at Nestle, and he happened to be actually a judge in our awards when we did the judging a couple of weeks ago. So I think his session could be really interesting.
Oh, excellent. I'll look out for that. And Stephen, what about you?
I think I've already sort of mentioned and plugged the event tomorrow. I think there's a good opportunity to hear from some innovators there who are looking to invest in sustainability. So money is not always the answer, but I'm sure in a lot of cases, if you get your hands on it, it'll actually help you to drive business change. So please attend that. There will be a deck to be shared afterwards too, I believe.
No, absolutely. Nice double plug. Well played. And John, what about you? What session are you looking forward to?
So obviously, everyone knows that we're part of the founding partners and that we've been involved in PMC for a long time. I recommend all of the sessions, right? Because I think Robert, the guys at BPIF and Boss have done such a great job in pulling it all together for the content, because we've just heard how critical it is, right? Profitable businesses will only be profitable with sustainability within their policies moving forward. End of. So it's not about them being able to survive on their own. If you don't have a sustainable policy and make it part of your business, you won't be profitable for the long term. So I think there's loads of good stuff. The one that most interested me is about 18, 19 years ago, I sat on a panel when I was a young whippersnapper, the new kid on the block, and I had a big row with Frank Romano, this fellow who knew a bit about print, and I thought I knew more. And I'll probably never row on a panel with him again, because he wiped the floor with me. So I'm most looking forward to Frank's session at 3:15 today. How did we get there? Because I think the story he's going to tell about how we've ended up here is just going to be awesome. So that's my pick of the bunch for today.
Perfect. That's great. Well, that's it. We've run out of time now. So hopefully you've all enjoyed our session, and we're giving you a taste of some of the great topics that are going to be covered over the next 3 days. So thank you to a panel for sharing your time and your insights today. Really appreciated that. Thank you to VMC and BPIF for, of course, organising. But most importantly, thanks to all of you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the session and enjoy the rest of the conference. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much indeed.
Cheers, guys.